You know, every single prophet, from Noah all the way to Muhammad, peace be upon them all, they all warned their people about one specific, terrifying event. A test so massive, so deceptive, that it's known as the greatest trial in all of human history. This is the explainer on the Dajjal, the false messiah.
I mean, it's a chilling thought, right? But according to the sources, it's a reality we have to be ready for. This isn't just some ancient story, it's a prophecy about a figure who will turn the world completely upside down.
All right, so how do you even begin to prepare for something like that? Well, first we've got to understand the man at the center of it all. The sources give us very specific signs to look out for. So who is he really, and how in the world will we recognize him? It's interesting, his name literally tells you everything you need to know. The word Dajjal comes from an Arabic root word dajjala, which means to cover, to coat, to deceive. He is the master illusionist, the one who will take an absolute lie and cover it so beautifully that it looks like the undeniable truth. And the prophecies get super specific about what he'll look like. He's described as a young, powerful man, broad-chested, with this really thick, curly hair. But the dead giveaways, the signs you just can't miss, are in his eyes and on his forehead. His right eye is blind and bulges out, described in a way that's hard to forget, like a floating grape. And right there between his eyes, a final warning. And here's the part that's just mind-blowing. The word kafir, which means disbeliever, will be written right there on his forehead. But it's not about being able to read Arabic. Every single believer, whether they're literate or not, will be able to see it and read it plain as day. It's a spiritual sight, a divine sign, that his followers, and the disbelievers, well, they won't see a thing. But see, he doesn't just show up out of the blue. The world will be perfectly set up for his arrival, primed by absolute chaos and desperation that will have people begging for a savior. Just imagine this, a global famine that unfolds over 3 devastating years. The first year, a third of the rain stops and a third of the crops fail. The second year, it gets worse. 2/3 of the rain and crops are gone. And by the third and final year, nothing. Not a single drop of rain falls. The earth is barren. It's into this world, a world of unimaginable hunger and desperation, that he makes his grand entrance. And this is where his power seems, well, godlike. For anyone who accepts him and follows him, he'll just command the sky, and boom, rain starts pouring down on them and them alone. He'll look at that barren, dead earth and command it to grow food, and it will. Hidden treasures, gold, silver, they'll literally rise from the ground and follow him around like a swarm of bees. He's offering food when everyone is starving. But the price? It's everything. It's your faith. But his greatest illusion, his biggest trick, involves these 2 massive rivers that he brings with him everywhere he goes. One looks like cool, refreshing water. He calls it his paradise. The other looks like a raging fire, his hell. This is where it gets incredibly dangerous. What you see is not what you get. The warning from the prophet is crystal clear. Reality is completely flipped. Believers are told to close their eyes and walk straight into what looks like fire, because that is the cool, sweet water. His so-called paradise, that's the real fire of hell. Okay, so his reign of deception is going to sweep across the entire globe at an impossible speed. And during this time itself, it's going to get weird. Really weird. Get this, just 40 days. That's all it takes for him to travel the entire planet. He'll hit every single city, every town, every village, spreading his test everywhere, with just 2 sacred exceptions. And this is where things get truly supernatural and disorienting. His first day on Earth will last for an entire year. His second day will feel like a month. His third, like a week. And after that, the last 37 days will feel like our normal days. Can you imagine how confusing that would be, living through a day that never seems to end? But, and this is a huge but, his power isn't absolute. He has limits. The 2 holiest cities, Mecca and Medina, he can't get in, period. There will be angels with drawn swords guarding every single entrance, making it impossible. It's a massive, undeniable sign for anyone paying attention that this guy is not a god. So all this chaos and deception, it's all building towards one final epic showdown. And just when the believers are backed into a corner, when all hope seems completely lost, that's when salvation descends from the heavens. I want you to really picture this scene.
The last of the believers are trapped in Damascus, surrounded by his massive army. They're getting ready for the dawn prayer, maybe thinking it's their last. And then the sky opens. It's Prophet Isa, Jesus, the son of Mary. He's descending, with his hands resting on the wings of two angels. He lands on the white minaret, and his arrival signals the beginning of the end for the great deceiver.
And the second the Dajjal sees him, the real Messiah, everything changes. All that power, that magic, that aura of divinity he had, it just evaporates. He literally begins to dissolve, like salt in water, his body physically unable to handle the presence of true prophecy. The ultimate deceiver becomes the ultimate coward and runs for his life.
Isa chases him down, and the pursuit ends at a very specific place, the Gate of Lod, in modern-day Palestine. It's there that the true Messiah catches the false one, and with one final blow, it's over. And everyone who followed him sees, in that final moment, that he was nothing more than a liar.
So, with the great trial over and the deceiver gone, what happens next? Well, the sources talk about two things: an incredible era of peace and the timeless lessons we're supposed to learn about how to protect ourselves from these kinds of deceptions. Under the leadership of Prophet Isa, the world is completely transformed. Justice, security, abundance, they aren't just ideas anymore. They're the reality. There's so much wealth and prosperity that, believe it or not, no one is left in need. It's the start of a true golden age for humanity. So, what's the takeaway for us? How do we protect ourselves? The advice is actually very practical. First and foremost, run. Get as far away from him as you possibly can. If you can't, there's a spiritual shield, memorizing and reciting the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf, the 18th chapter of the Quran. And above all else, the key is knowledge, knowing his signs, knowing his weaknesses, and having that unshakable trust that this trial has a promised end.
You know, when you really think about it, this whole trial is like the ultimate filter, designed to separate what's real from what's just a dazzling illusion. And it kind of makes you ask yourself, doesn't it? In our own world, which is already packed with its own deceptions, big and small, what are we choosing to follow right now?